Yeah, hey Matt. Just first off, what do you know at this point about North Texas?
I don't know anything about North Texas. I know their coach.
Yeah,
I'm friends with their coach. So he coached Nemanja Chalice in junior college.
right.
So, but I have not seen their team play. So
Um, you've only got four guys who played in NCAA tournament games. How much do you have to rely on your four juniors in a situation like this, or am I making too much of that?
no, I think anytime you've already played in an NCAA tournament, that experience helps you. I think obviously it's a different format with the pandemic. So I think that's it's unique in itself, but it's going to be new for people that haven't been in it, and in terms of playing in games and in the NCAA tournament. But no, we have some guys. Those four guys have not only played in NCAA tournament games, but they've played in an Elite Eight game. They played in the Sweet 16 game. They've won a Big Ten championship, so they've had some big time experiences that hopefully helps them.
Right. So what's kind of your preparation structure here now? Obviously, you all dive into North Texas, but how do you handle these days the advanced scouting? What's kind of your operation here?
Yeah, we let a couple guys on staff go forward a little bit with if you can win the next opponent, but everybody really keeps their focus on North Texas. Like we don't get away from that. It's just doing everything in our power to try to win the game in front of us, and then if you're fortunate enough to win, then you work towards the next game.
Right, right. You don't have your location yet, I assume?
I don't think so. No, we don't.
What's it going to be like playing all these games in Indiana, you think?
I think it'll be great. It's good to be in the NCAA tournament. It's good to be in a situation that you probably weren't in last year unless you won a lot of games in the Big Ten tournament. So I'm proud of our guys. We've had a great year, and just hope to continue it.
What about having fans back?
Well, it was cool.
How important is that?
Yeah, we got to give them a reason to cheer, but I thought in the second half of the night we did, and you could hear our fans, and that was pretty cool. But it's one of those situations that each time you play and things are happening, in this pandemic, like you got to keep your focus, on the game, and then that's what we'll try to do.
What do you want them to take from the Ohio State game?
To play like they did in the second half and not play like they did in the first half. So honestly, I thought going back, in a knee-jerk reaction, I thought Ohio State was really good in the first half, but I thought we helped them. We helped them a lot. If people earn things against us, that's one thing, but you can't hand people points, and we were simply handing them points. And anytime we had breakdowns defensively, they just exposed us, which that's what good teams do. But in the second half, I thought our guys, made shots, and that helped. But I just thought they played with, more of a purpose. And that's what we have to do as a team. We got to play with the purpose and be ready to play. I didn't think we were ready to play.
You used the two big guys together a little bit down the stretch. Is that something that you're considering doing, kind of moving forward, or did things just kind of work out situationally there where that made sense?
Yeah. Well, things just worked out. Obviously we put him in to get on the ball the one time, and then they were trying to protect E.J. Liddell. And so if they're going to put Zeb Key on Travion, and, now we go put, Zach on, E.J. Liddell in terms of making him guard him. So we were just trying to flip-flop that one and try to get the matchup, and we were going to go to Travion. And then the other time we did it, Travion obviously, fed him on a high-low, and Zach scored. So, if it presents itself and it's something that you want to do and something you can do, with the matchups they have at the other end, I have no problem offensively, but it's got to match up on the other end too for us.
Right. Just the last thing I wanted to ask you about, I don't want to use the word easy because I know it's not easy, but when you get out of a long Big Ten season, when everybody knows what everybody else is doing, everything's so physical, how much do things change for the better when you get out of that? And face people who've never seen you before.
Yeah, well, we run a lot of stuff, and so as the season progresses, you still have to run things that are going to work for you. And a lot of times in scouting, people know what's coming, but the people that are efficient, that are good, are still able to execute and score. And so you're hoping that they're, those teams are not as familiar, but it can work both ways. Like, you're not as familiar with them either.
Right.
So it can work for you, but it also can work against you.
Right. Actually, one other thing I want to ask you about, can you just kind of speak to the job Mike has done this year with the offense and just what he's, brought to your program in the, past 2 seasons?
Yeah, well, he's a good, coach, obviously. He's a good basketball mind, and he did a lot of, work for the Celtics on the defensive end. And, but we've used him, as our offensive guy. And, he's done a great job. He's added some things for us, especially in, after timeout situations or special situations. And, but no, he's a really good teacher of the game. And I think that it's really benefited us in how he's been used. I think a lot of times that it's broad and coaches just do everything. When if you can really, whittle things down and just let people kind of hang in one area, that they can really get good at what they did. And I think that really has worked for us defensively. And I think obviously, in his case, it's worked for us offensively. And you're just able to focus. I think Steve Lutz would say the same thing. You just have that laser focus of just locking into one part of the game, and it allows to have one voice too. I think that's been really good for us. But no, Mike has been great.
I'm good. Thank you, Matt.
Yeah, no problem.
Matt Carmen.
Thank you. Back to the Ohio State game for a second. When you went back and looked, was it more of the missing communication piece that still bothers you?
Yes, no question. We just, there was nothing they were doing that was any different than what they did before. And we had success before, even though they made shots in the 2 games we played before. We just did a poor job communicating and just handling some simple things. And it wasn't one guy. It was a handful of guys. And it was guys who played a lot. And so we just have to do a better job. We worked on it today. Just communicating, talking, and being on the same page.
You remember that at all happening this season for as long as it did Friday?
Yeah, it's happened. This isn't something that's like anything new. You always are working on, that communication, especially in ball screen defense. We've had some breakdowns like that, yeah. But just, to get to this point of the season, and when, it happens here and there, but for it to happen as much as it did was a little alarming, to be honest with you.
Just your overall season. I mean, do you feel like it was representative of a number 4 seed in the NCAA tournament?
Well, obviously, we benefited from the league that we're in, and you had to win some games versus some quality opponents, and we were able, obviously, to do some of that. Obviously, we got beat by some people, but we ended up 13-6 in a really good league, from a conference standpoint, and you're going to get rewarded anytime you can, be consistent and win games, and it's, in the best league in the country, you're going to put yourself in a good position. And you get to where, are you a 4? Are you a 5? Are you a 6? You're kind of splitting hairs with that. But once you look at it, and especially in terms of, your quality of wins, I think our league really helped us.
Just how's Brandon adjusted to coming off the bench, and are you seeing anything different or seeing the same, or kind of evaluate how he's done?
Yeah, well, he's, he knocked down a couple shots, and, getting him to, to really move and try to take those opportunities on his catch and shoots, and just keep things simple. And a lot of times when, you're coming off the bench and you're playing less, you want to try to do more in shorter amount of time. And that's where you press and you don't play as well. And he's just got to let things come to him. And if he does that, he'll help us and he'll help himself. I think that's probably been the biggest adjustment for him. It just seems like he's trying to make too many plays, and that just puts him in a tough spot. And just doing his job and letting things come to him, and that'll really help him. But it was good to see him knock down a couple shots because his outside shooting really helps us.
Right. Thank you, Matt.
No problem.
Anyone else for Matt?
Yeah, I got a quick one here, Chris.
Go
Coach,
ahead.
you kind of talked about you don't know anything about North Texas, obviously, but can you talk about the challenges of trying to scout a team that you really know nothing about or have never seen play?
Yeah, well, you do your best in terms of just getting intel and finding out about them. And I know about him as a coach, and he's a very good coach. He's guys are going to play hard. Guys are going to defend. I promise you that on both of those accounts. Like he's a really good basketball coach, and he'll have those guys ready, and they won't beat themselves, and they'll play hard and they'll defend. It'll be a tough game. I haven't even watched him play, but it'll be a tough game. He's that good of a coach, and I consider him a friend. Obviously, we signed one of his guys, Nemanja Chalison, and so I've always followed, his career. And it's not that we're close or anything. We stay in contact all the time because we don't. But in passing or wherever I see him, we always talk. And but no, he's a really good coach, and so we're going to have to be prepared.
Thanks.
I've got a couple of just quick ones for Coach. First of all, this is your 12th trip in 16 years at Purdue. I'm just curious what you draw upon in terms of experiences, in terms of maybe what works and what doesn't work in terms of preparation.
Yeah, you have to work on the things that are necessary in terms of that are really different, and sometimes there's not a lot of things that are that different from the teams that you normally play, but you just want to get your guys on the same page, and so they know what they're doing, they know what you're going to get to offensively, and you know what you have to do defensively to compete against them. But it's like anything else, in any other game. You can't beat yourself. You got to be able to rebound, take care of the basketball. I think those things are more important. But when you have a lot of guys that haven't been in the tournament yet, there's going to be, a lot of anxiousness to get out there and play and to do. You just have to, keep your emotions in check and do what you did all year.
The question about the league also, 2 number ones for the first time since 2001, 2 number twos. You guys are number 4. I mean, given the number of powerhouse programs, I know that, last, 20 years, teams have gotten the Final Four pretty consistently, but they haven't won that national championship. You think this could be the year given the number of quality teams? Or?
Right. Well, I hope so. The more teams you can put in there, and that's something that we really talked about in our league meetings a couple years ago when we went to 20 games is, if we play more, when we had 16 games, then we moved to 18, there was a big jump. And then we went from 18 to 20, there was another jump. And obviously this is another increase in teams from 2 years ago. Obviously we didn't have a tournament last year. But that's what we want to try to do. We want to try to do everything in our power as a league to get as many teams in there. And then with that, you're increasing your chances of getting into the Final Four and hopefully one of those teams win a national championship. That'd be great for the Big Ten Conference.
Coach, with you heading to Indy to play Friday, do you know when you're going to come back and check into the bubble and all of that?
I don't understand your question.
When will you be heading back to Indianapolis? There
you go. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I went out. We are heading there tomorrow morning.
Got it. Quick follow-up. You're one of 3 teams nationally over the last 5 years to have a 5 seed or better. Virginia and Kansas, the only other 2. I know that's just the line probably somewhere in your bio on the website, but if you could reflect on that for a moment before we get going this year.
Yeah, well, I think it, shows how good of players we've had. It's a player's game. And you try your best as a coach to keep things organized, have structure, use your own experiences to help your team. But at the end of the day, if you don't have guys that are, that are any good or guys that won't play together, you're probably not going to get in the NCAA tournament. And through the years that we've had really good players, and we've had a lot of guys sacrifice so our team can win. I think that's kind of the key is, there's a lot of talent out there, but how productive are your guys? And how unselfish are your guys? And I think we've had a lot of guys that check those boxes over the last 5 years.
Hey, Matt.
Yes.
Being an Indiana guy, I mean, do you feel a certain pride with the fact the entire country, the entire basketball world is coming here?
Yeah, no question. And I've always said that, whether it's you're holding an AAU tournament or you're holding, the NCAA tournament right now, like I think Indianapolis is the best place. It's fan friendly. They've proven, over the course of time with all the Final Fours that they've had, that they can run a great tournament. And this is just another example with all the different venues that they're going to have to use, and they'll do a great job. And they always do. And I know this is a tall task and it's very unique. But like Indianapolis is does an unbelievable job of running the NCAA tournament and really in general, just doing anything. And it's going to be pretty exciting. Obviously, you get kind of in your own cocoon when you're sitting there and you're looking at things. You just start to get focused on the tournament. But when you can take a step back and take it all in, it's pretty cool that the state of Indiana, gets to have this whole tournament this year.
Thanks.
All right, guys.
Can I have one, JD?
Yep, go ahead, Dylan.
Yeah, really quick, Matt. Obviously, you guys are the only team from Indiana to be in the tournament. Is there a little extra sense of pride in that being that distinction and kind of representing the state for your team?
Yeah, I guess I didn't know that. I didn't really think along those lines, but just having pride of being in the tournament, it's hard. It's a lot of people just look at it. I think fans really look at it that way, like, why aren't we in the tournament? But it's hard. It's very, very competitive, and it's difficult. But yeah, that's, I think it's pride of just trying to get, the team you're coaching, your alma mater, in the NCAA tournament, because we have such a great following at Purdue. And then obviously, the state of Indiana's, the basketball fans across the board, it's pretty nuts, because basketball means so much to the fans in our state.
Anyone else? Cool. Thank you, Matt.